Happy sixth season. I forgot to tell you guys that. We're now in the sixth season. That's crazy.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Like we've completed 5 years. Why do you guys do this to yourselves? Why do you listen to us every week? Just kidding. Just kidding. Holding strong at about 300 views every week, comments every week, engagement. We're here for it. We like it. We like you guys. So thanks for hanging out with us. Anyways, another fun week. I'm back. Sorry for my absence. Duty called. Had to do it. In doing so, am I Mouse Holloway? Or is Mouse Holloway me? Because we can't be on screen at the same time.
Mm.
I don't know. Actually, I do know. I am no way near him. So let me go ahead and just stop while I'm ahead. Anyhow, Blythe, how are you doing tonight?
We are a week out from the championships. Hoping to handle our business and get some additional people on the list.
Right. Governor, how about yourself?
Well, it is Friday, right? So we're a week out.
Oh man.
Conference next week. We blinked. We did
And we're here.
and we're here.
Crazy.
Whether you like it or not, we're here.
Cancun on 3.
Man,
What does that even mean?
that's what the Lakers chanted after they lost in Game 5,
Oh, geez.
and what it seems like Boston and many other teams are trying to do.
Boston and Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland's down 0-2, right?
Yes.
Can't stop Halliburton after a free throw. That's outrageous.
Hey man, you eject his dad, from games.
His dad's out of pocket though.
Oh boy.
Well, let's get started. So the fun one is, did you choose track or did track choose you? So I'll start with as the least talented of the group. Like, seriously. So in 7th grade, I chose track.
Okay.
I did. And literally it's because all of my friends ran CYO track, Catholic Youth Organization. And I was like, that sounds like a good idea. Now, I chose 300 hurdles as well. So we just know how well that went as I competed as a jumper later in my life. So that went well. But I'll say collegiate coaching track chose me. So I'll say I have a differential on that, and I'll leave it there.
I love this era we're in of specialization, and I want my little Timmy to be the next gold medalist, in the hurdles or whatever.
How far tongue in cheek are you right now? Because I know you don't love any parts of that.
I mean, I just have to say it this way. This is the analogy that I give the parents who ask me about specialization and specific training at single-digit ages, even some double-digit ages.
Yes.
I said, can your son or daughter, specifically your son, because it's usually about boys, not girls, let's be honest, can he pee in the toilet? I'm going to start there.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Literally, because if you don't have that hand-eye coordination, what are we doing in life?
Yes.
Anyways.
Boy, that took a turn.
Sorry. Go on. Go on.
So as legend should have it, In my early years, I was a swimmer. I played volleyball, I played basketball, I played soccer, I played baseball, I played badminton, squash, tennis. I mean, I did it all. I mean, as soon as I walked in the house and said, "Hey, I'd like to try this racket thing." Oh, here's a racket. All right, let's
You are
go try.
so far too athletic for half the things you just named.
So,
Your big fast ass playing badminton makes no sense.
well, imagine me on the soccer field running past the ball. I'm looking down and I'm like, oh, the ball's back here. Okay, I need to keep it in front of me. Okay. Um, you know, I'm one of the few people, if there were cameras back then, you would have seen me run from center field to take on a runner going from first to second base. I did that. Those are the kind of things that I did. Anyway, uh, get to middle school, and there's a track club that leaves on Fridays at half day.
There you
And
go.
I'm like, oh, hell yeah. I'm I'm into this. And I literally joined the track club just because of that. And my coach, Mr. Harper, RIP, rest in peace. Um, I think he noticed right away that my intentions were not so
Pure.
not pure. So he didn't give me the time of day. Like I'm telling you, this man ignored me. And all it did was light the fire. Now, I don't know if he knew what he was doing, but when I jumped 21 feet at the age of 14, he was like, "Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's chat. Who are you? And what do we need to do here?" And yeah, so does that suggest that track chose me or I chose track? Which one?
It doesn't at all.
I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
It was quite literally like, I'm trying to get this man's attention. Like, you're not going to ignore me like this. I'm here practicing every day. I'm showing up on time. I'm making sure I'm on the plane for sure. Uh, but yeah, but that was, and then as far as coaching, um, I volunteered for 6 years. I mean, what
You
else do you
chose
need to
that.
know? What else do you need to know about whether or not I really tested the waters between Florida and Florida State to figure out if this is what I really wanted to do. And yeah, it once Jackie allowed me to work with her sprinters, and I started to get an understanding and started to feel, oh my goodness, like they're actually listening to me. Okay, this is cool. Yeah, and then went from there. I haven't looked back.
So I saw this question, I think, on one of the track. I think it might have been the GST feed or something like that. I found it interesting, especially with the way people were justifying their answers. Much like the governor there, growing up, I did everything.
Everything.
Organized, actually was a part of teams, football, baseball, basketball, soccer, swimming, track, probably something else in there that I forgot. Didn't really do the tennis or golf thing. And I will unequivocally say that I chose track because I was on some teams that were excellent, and then I got a little taste of being on a team that sucked. And I'm like, I'm good at all of this.
Right.
Why am I taking L's? Because
Yes.
you people can't
Yes.
do your jobs.
Right.
And so track was very much oh, okay, I'm in charge of this. I can just
Yep.
handle my business kind of thing. So I definitely chose track. Now, within the embodiment of the sport of track, I also chose hurdles, but like the governor, it was for very sinister reasons. I was in the 9-10, whatever you call that in club track, midget boys distinction. And when I came to track, I thought that I wanted to run the 100 because that's all anybody knows about track.
Right.
But all the cute girls who were 11 and 12 were hurdlers. And so I was like, well, I want to go over there. Well, that's hurdle practice. I'm like, well, I guess that's where I'm going to be. And I got second at JO's my first year of club track.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to impress the 11 and 12-year-old girls and get them to pay me some
Oh
kind of
my
attention.
goodness.
Like that was the whole game.
Wow.
So
the truth will set you free.
hey, so I chose the sport and my events chose me. Or I chose my events. I will absolutely say that coaching chose me because I came to coaching out of desperation and homelessness, trying to figure out how I was going to eat.
Right.
I took a summer job with a local track club in Knoxville, Tennessee for pocket change and realized that I was pretty good at this, and then fell into my own journey of coaching in that regard. So the coaching thing chose me, but I chose everything else.
Cancun, you're the only one left.
Trying to make this story short. I chose track, but I chose track after my hand was forced. We got a new basketball coach my senior year, and he made the ridiculous statement that we had too many seniors on the team. And I said, exactly what does that mean? And he said that I need to play the younger guys, or else if I play you all as much as you deserve. So there was his mistake. He actually admitted that we were better, right? If I play you as much as you deserve, then the cupboard will be bare next year, and basically I'll be starting over. And I said, so let me get this straight. Someone who I'm better than is going to play over me just so that you have experience for next year's roster. He says, not so many words yet, but yes. I said, well, they're going to play a lot more. And I took off my practice jersey, folded it very neatly, and I handed it back to him. The next day, I was running up and down the hallway, and I had decided I was going to go to college on a track scholarship of some sort because I refused to get forced to go to SUNY and live at my grandparents' house because those were the only options to me. So I chose track, and I chose the we gonna make this work path without question.
I don't know why I'm laughing so much because this is the most, I have to say it, this is the most Chris Huffins thing ever.
Listen, I'm gonna add to that story for you. So I grew up playing inner city AAU travel ball.
Right.
We was all over the country. I played travel ball against people who went to the NBA.
Yeah, same.
So my mother moved us north, and my first high school was very, very, very Caucasian. And I was 6'2", and the basketball coach said that I needed to play center. I said, my guy, I am a guard.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing of the center. I don't play five. I don't know what you're talking about. But you're taller than everybody, and you can rebound. I was like, yes, I'm more athletic, but I'm not playing center. I'm like, you know what? I'm good. And I walked because there was no way I was doing that.
We're not doing that. That's just not a thing. So like literally, okay, I did this with 1 year of track. I started doing track my junior high school. So I made this decision with having competed in the sport of track and field for 1 year and having jumped 22.5 in the long jump. But I was absolutely listen, I was going to go to Valdosta Tech if it had to be, as long as I got to choose where I was going to school. That was the only deal, right? So
My goodness.
anyway, for sure, I chose track, but I think in many ways it therefore chose me. The coaching piece, there is no question that I turned down so many other things to coach that I couldn't even lie and say that I didn't choose coaching. But if I'm going to be honest, I think all of us would say this. As much as we chose track because there was a calling. It's just like people choose to be a pastor, right? You choose to be a pastor, but there's a calling for some ungodly reason, like deep in your closet, that's like, you should be a pastor, right? Like, you know, when people keep telling you you'd make a good coach, you make a good coach, you make a good coach, by the 347th time you've heard it and you're almost at the end of your athletic career, you're like,
Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna try this coaching thing. And since I went to college uh to do advertising and then decided I wanted to do teaching and had taken the NTE and all that other stuff, and I realized that I loved the kids, hated the parents, and couldn't stand being indoors, coaching made all the sense to me, because I'm like, that's teaching but outside, and I can teach stuff that's fun. Done. Sounds good. And I have to deal with minimal parents. Sold.
I mean, think about this. And I am almost certain that all of you shared, well, the three of us that have been on the circuit
Yeah.
share the same feeling. So when I got my first full-time job at Mizzou, let's just say it was appalling, like what I got paid.
Sir.
But
But-
no. You have
question.
you by far you can you take the cake. I know.
I don't think he does. We could play that game real fast. Go ahead.
Hey, I'm telling you, all right. Okay, let's put it this way. By Big 12 and following year SEC standards, I'll
Oh,
just
we
leave it
believe
there.
that.
All right. So
Yes.
anyway, but the second month I was there and my bank account got hit with X amount of dollars, I'm going, so imagine this. This is 2011. And I don't know what consistent payment is.
Right.
I don't, it doesn't register in my
What is this
brain.
paycheck you speak of?
Do you get what I'm saying, Big League?
Mm-hmm.
Having
Absolutely.
having been on the circuit for as long as I had not experienced regular payments. Like,
Nope.
here you go. Here you go. Every month.
Yeah.
Beginning of the month. Here you go.
Nope.
What? I'm like, what? What is this? So it
They're
didn't matter.
overpaying me.
It didn't matter. You know,
Right.
and I don't think from a mental standpoint, I don't think people really understand that professional athletes that decide to go into track, I guarantee you, if you were to sit us all in a room and talk about that first year where you can pay your bills, like, hold up. Like,
No, not that you can, that you know you can.
yes,
That
wild.
it was never a question if you were going to have enough money. It was a question as to whether the money was going to be there when you
Exactly.
needed to pay what it was.
Exactly.
So
So
wait, we're real quick for educational purposes. Chewy, first NCAA job.
Okay.
You were
Okay.
paid what?
27,000.
Yeah, you're winning.
You are
AST.
winning. I guarantee you got the highest paid job. Guarantee it.
no,
KST
45.
Your
Wow.
winning.
first paid job?
Yes.
Bro,
Stop
you
it.
made more than my first two jobs.
What?
EP.
So hold
I
on.
feel like I
Wait,
haven't beat
wait,
on this.
hold
You
on.
can't have me beat, and Kareem
let me
knows
s-
this.
Let me speak to this. If the governor started at 45,
Remember,
I
this
didn't
is
make
Big 12. This is
no, I know, no.
okay.
I didn't make 45. I didn't make close to 45
Uh-huh.
until I got to the Big 12.
Yeah. But you
What?
started at 27.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Did
totally buy
not.
that.
I did
All right,
not make.
all right, Cancun.
All right, all right.
I'll give
all
you
right.
mine since you think yours is worse.
Here, you know what? Because I don't want anybody to think I fudged this. I'm just going to tell you because I have the contract still. I signed the contract to be a full-time assistant coach at Wake Forest with my own group. I signed a contract for basketball tickets because they had value. The contract said
No, no,
$0 and 0
no,
cents, and I got
no, no,
basketball
no,
tickets.
no,
Show you the contract.
no.
$0 and 0 cents, and I got basketball tickets. The following year, this is year 2 in the ACC, I got $1,000 a month prorated for the 10 months of the school year. So for the first 2 years, and I coached 5 ACC champions in those 2 years, I've made $10,000 in 2 years.
I'm gonna give
Now,
him
I
that
could
one. So
survive because I was still a pro athlete. What Kareem's talking about is the craziness that happened the following year. So the year that I retired and became and moved to Georgia Tech, I took a
Yes.
$98,000 pay cut.
to what though?
I went to $38,000.
Okay.
But that was my second job and my
No,
third
yeah.
year.
I got you. Now, your first job at Wake Forest, what years in the world were this?
Uh
Oh man.
90, 98, 99, 98, 99, and 99, 2000.
So this is around the Tim Duncan, Randolph Childress time.
Yes.
Immediately following Timmy, but he was back in the summer. And yes,
Yeah.
Randolph Childress, Muggsy was
Okay.
still around.
So I don't know how valuable Wake Forest basketball tickets are now. During that time, they may have been more valuable than what I got. So what I got was at La Tech
I
year
gotta hear
one,
this. I gotta hear this.
$8,000 of pay.
Wow.
8,000. I was not part-time, full-time. $8,000 of pay and housing. And by housing, I mean I lived in the freshman dorm, all men. I didn't live in that kind of housing when I was an athlete. I almost killed people daily. You talking about it's 2 a.m. and there are 17, 18-year-old people with mattresses in their hands running down the hallway to slam into each other.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to hurt people. Community bathrooms, the whole nine. So, yes, I'm going to give it to Cancun, but 8 Gs and the dorm was not it.
I mean, I think we could have pure comedy on this show if it was literally if we brought on one NCAA coach after another and that was part of our Q&A to ask them about their first job because when I heard about Sean Jackson at La Tech, I was like,
the bowling coach?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, that was a lick though. Sean was getting over on that.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
Oh man.
But look, you know what I love about this though? This is part of the reason all of us are friends. Because look, what people don't get, so Lucius is in that same group, right? Like when he started, he was making, pennies and was a pauper as well. Is that every single one of us obviously loved the sport, and we figured that was when this word doesn't exist anymore, y'all. That was our apprenticeship. We all understood like the opportunity to coach was what we were giving. Like they gave us some sort of salary and that was awesome, but the opportunity to coach is what they were giving us.
Well, to your point, like I have had several former pro athletes, reach out to me, ask me about, okay, how do I get into the sport? And by the time I've told them about my 6 years, like they're just
they don't want any
they're
parts
just
of that.
completely glazed over. Like they're like, okay, thanks, man. Hey, I'm happy for you, dude. Hey, but and it's like they don't get it. They don't get that for me, I needed every bit of that time, right? I had to pull back. My phone's not ringing anymore, right? There's no agents anymore. There's no, hey, we've got this. No, none of that. And I had to thaw out. I had to find myself again and I had to reset from take to give, right? And I needed that time. Like I had to humble myself majorly, and you know, and I'm glad I did it. I would do it again. You know, being the first person out at the track. Hey, you need hurdles set up? All right, what do you need me to do? You know, what's the spacing? You tell me what I need to do. Need the pit raked? And they're like, that's what you did for 6 years. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I was the hurdle crew at Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Well, so okay, this is the other thing that so many young coaches don't get, and we'll keep this
Yeah.
moving. When I was at Georgia Tech, my legitimate job description was I had men's and women's throws, men's and women's combined events, men's 100, 200, 4x1. So I guess men's short sprints.
Mm-hmm.
And one male 400 hurdler who basically had got kicked out the band, but was a good kid. Like he wasn't good enough to be in Grover's group, so he came to mine.
Right.
So that was my actual job description. So, like, who's going to put the hurdles out,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
And then when I went to Boise State, I literally had men's and women's sprints, jumps, hurdles, and multis. Yeah, I mean, I said that, right? I had
Yeah.
all of that. So
Yeah,
at the
man.
end of the day, like those job descriptions are insane, but you learn
Yeah. Exactly.
so much,
So
so
much.
many, you put so many different tools in your toolbox,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because now when later on someone says, well, can you coach the vault? Yes. Can you coach
Yeah.
the long and triple jump? Yes. Can you coach the hammer? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Very
Fun
cool.
fact, my first All-American I ever coached was in the men's javelin.
It's wild.
It is.
What's next, Chew?
So there's this thing. It's called the House versus NCAA.
Mm.
Now, here's one part that people are overlooking. And I really truly believe people are overlooking it, whether they don't understand it or they're just get caught by the step 1 and step 2 that they don't make it to step 3. So we know that the House versus NCAA covers a few factions. One being revenue sharing, 2 being roster limits. Third part is the NIL regulations. So people are understanding that there is no more basically recruiting money being hid in NIL. Everybody understands that. But what they're not understanding is that NIL now is capped at quid pro quo. This is how I've been explaining it. It's quid pro quo. You actually have to have an exchange of value, of deemed value. Let me say that more specifically, right? Now, a lot of the parents that I'm talking to and athletes that I'm talking to are saying, well, who's to say what my value is? And I said, well, it's funny you ask. The NCAA's got a person. And
Mm-hmm.
that group of peoples is going to basically deem whether it's that valuable, if you're that valuable, or if the transaction is that valuable or not. So how I've explained it to the parents is this is stated versus documented income. We went through that whole era of real estate of stated versus documented income, and this is what it is, right? We were just in, or we are about to leave the stated income, and now only work off of documented income. So the question to the panel is, should we remain the quote unquote as stated free market era, or become happily in betrothed to the Deloitte era, because that is the grouping of choice for the NCAA? Thoughts?
I'll jump in there if nobody else wants to.
You weren't looking up to see if anybody was.
I was looking up. I looked right at the whole
Clyde,
screen, and Clyde
Clyde
is
had
like
his
kind
mouth
of just
open. Nope,
Applies
Clyde
it,
had his
but
mouth wide open.
that's how he thinks when his mouth is open. He wasn't about to say nothing. He wasn't about to say nothing yet. He was still thinking. You know, unlike you, I pay attention to all these people's faces. So I tried. I couldn't even finish that sentence. So I look there. I
Okay,
chastised myself.
all right.
Here's the thing. I'm a goose and gander person. So I'm a if then person. If we are going to pay student athletes basically based on their market value to the institution, right? We are not paying beach volleyball setters the same amount of money as the point guard on the basketball team of either gender.
Mhm.
So if we already have a graduated scale, then we already understand the inequities that we are going to deal with. So if that's the case, I think we have no choice to be free market and let individuals' true values be set by the markets that they can mine. Right? Like, look, Deion Sanders says a lot of things, but one of the things he said was absolutely spot on. We have not come from an NIL era. We're
Mhm.
moving into an NIL era. We came from a collective era. Everybody kept calling it NILs, but that was just the excuse and the vehicle to pay kids. NIL is name, image, and likeness, which means that your name or your image, pictures of you, has a value to a company. That is free market. And that would be a world where a female volleyball player could actually bring in more money because of her name, image, and likeness. It's possible than a star running back, right? Because there may be a company that has a connection to her and they want to pay her. To me, the only way that this can go forward and there be any level of quote unquote fairness is free market, but free market based on literally whatever industries said person and their NIL lawyer, their NIL advisor, because they're allowed to have those, their NIL advisor can mine for them. If I am the number one NIL firm and I sign big league, what we can get her is what we can get her. If that ends up being more money than the quarterback at TCU, that's their problem,
Mhm.
right? She had the connections to get with the right people, and those people got her money. The last thing I'm trying to have is some lawyer who's beholden to the NCAA
Mhm.
regulating what big league can make, because they are going to make sure that the status quo stays quoing. It will be like this.
And that, in a nutshell, is how we keep basketball and football where they're supposed to be.
That part.
Okay? And you know, we've already seen schools have already put out literature on percentages, how much football is going to get, how much basketball will get, and how much everybody else is going to get. And we're going to like it, right? Because God forbid that there was a gymnast at LSU who
Yep.
found a way to market herself
Mhm.
and created her own audience. And there's mass hysteria every time she competes. Arenas are full. They want to see her. She has a valuation of over $2 million, right? Well, that upsets the apple cart, does it not? That's not supposed to happen when you have a limited pool of $22 million.
Mhm.
Well,
And that's the part that, I feel, we're heading to on a collision course if we're not already there.
I'm gonna say we're definitely already there, and
Mm-hmm.
no matter what side of this they come down, on different sides gonna sue, and that's why this whole thing is stupid. Um, I might be crazy. I haven't been proven to be very crazy in these discussions yet. So this is where I'm going. I'm going to use the published model that Georgia put out.
Okay.
22.5 mil in rev
Yep.
share. 75% of that has to go to football.
Yep.
10% to men's basketball, 10% to women's basketball, and the last 5% for everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Now, within that, there is no rule or regulation that says that the 75% has to be divided evenly amongst all the football
Right.
players.
No. Mm-mm.
So if you're going to pay the quarterback 15 mil and give everybody else $100, that seems like a you problem.
Yep.
But that's an internal decision that will get made. And on those kind of things, I am here for the fallout of that, right? My issue is this. I'm very jaded in political spheres of things. My entire life, ever since I've been able to understand the words, every time somebody is screaming free market, it's usually some nonsense. So since we went from extreme regulation to utter chaos with no regulation, I am a fan of anything that brings it back into some form of regulated
Mm-hmm.
conduct, if you will. The problem is it's only for show because shenanigans will always be afoot, and you can say whatever you want and you can structure the rules however you want. And then, you know, the SMU boosters are still going to give Eric Dickerson the car. Like, they're going to do what they're going to do. Either way, I would just like, I'm all for the idea of athletes getting paid. How we are doing it is stupid. How we are doing it is going to crash the majority of things. And since I'm one of the small people in one of the small sports that is taking a bludgeoning for this nonsense, I'm all for keeping it in some kind of box. So damn the free market. Let the let the people say whatever the value is, because at the end of the day, guess who's not going to be valued? Me and mine. So I don't really care if the quarterback gets 15 million or 2 million. Either way, they're getting more than they deserve.
I feel like the only regulation I will be here for is percentage disbursement of the 22 million or whatever. I think Georgia's model slightly flawed, but I actually like it. Like, I think 75% of the money should go to football. Because let's be honest, they make 98% of the money in most cases, right?
Yeah.
I'm probably going to get canceled for this next one. I don't really care. In what world do women's basketball and men's basketball get the same amount of money?
Oh, sir, that is the
But that's
hottest
my point.
sports topic of the day.
That is my point, is that if we're going to
Somebody's-
do it, then let's do it. So
Hey,
if
there are people
40%,
out there in the world that said, what's old girl from LSU?
Livy
what's her name?
Dunn.
which one? Kim Mulkey
Angel Reese.
or Angel Reese?
Oh.
Okay.
There are people out there in the world that said Angel Reese does the exact same thing that LeBron James does, and therefore should be paid like LeBron.
Sure. Okay. So whatever the industry wants to pay her is fine, but we're talking about, listen, we are talking about paying back revenue. That's the whole point of this settlement. Paying back revenue that was earned by people in jerseys, right? Okay. There might be 3 schools in the entire country where women's basketball and men's basketball have made comparable additions to the coffers. Right. So if we're just going to do reality, it should probably be 75% to football. It should probably be 12 to 15% for men's basketball and 5 to 10% for women's basketball. And then the remaining 5%, if however my math is mathing, should go to quote unquote the rest, because we already know that none of the rest break even. right? So this is a gift. We're giving this to you because we have made money off of your school won a national title in a sport, or you have a certain number of minority student athletes, and we make money off of the way that looks and makes our school look. So I get that. But outside of that regulation, I don't think there should be any. And from a name, image, and likeness, I don't think that anybody who is employed by the NCAA should have any, and I mean any, say as to what a student athlete can make in terms of name, image, and likeness. They set the parameters so that you can't make money on OnlyFans. I get it, right? You can't do anything sexual. No, I'm being serious. Like you can't do
I mean, they
anything.
did, but
You can't do
they're gonna get
anything
sued over that too.
you can't do anything sexual. You can't do anything that could be deemed as degrading or detrimental to the brand. I get
To
all
the
that,
brand,
right?
yes.
Okay, but at the end of the day, why should there be anything else legislated? Look, if my daughter was on the women's swim team at school X and she happened to be tall and beautiful and had great hair, right? And I'm chit chatting on the pool deck one day with one of the other parents, and that parent happens to work for Kurt. And they say, dude, your daughter would be an incredible national spokesperson for us. What would you say to an $8 million campaign? She would have to make 4 appearances, obviously not outside of the sports season. She would have to do this amount of this and this and this. So she got to earn it, but this is what we want to give her. There is no chance on this planet that I think that anybody who works for the NCAA should be able to regulate that.
But I don't think that that's a part, at least my understanding, that's not a part of what this is.
No,
Yeah.
that is exactly what that firm is being charged with doing. They are the ones that set whether a deal is legitimate or not.
Correct. They would take your PERT offer and compare it to whatever Model X would get for that job in the business and
Yeah.
and say that's real or it's not.
And
Yeah.
again, why do they get? What I'm saying is, if PERT has only paid their models $2 million ever, but they want to pay my daughter $8 million because she is a student athlete, she's a unicorn, and there's nothing to compare her to. So they
You make that argument.
So that's
Yeah.
my point about they should not be given the unilateral power to be judge and jury as to what the ceiling of anybody's value is. That's insane.
Well, like I said, they're going to get sued over it one way or the other.
Well, listen, there's an adage in the sporting world in particular. There is no worth. Your worth is what you can negotiate.
Mhm.
End of story. You could think you're worth 10 million. You might be undervaluing yourself. You may also be way overpricing yourself. You're not going to know till somebody, yourself or somebody else, one of your advocates, goes out and pines and mines and finds out.
All right.
I mean, we just
Well.
had a football coach sign with an NIL firm. Did y'all see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
I think this is going to be the beginning of a lot.
Hey, Shaquille O'Neal is the new CEO of basketball at
Mhm, at Sac
Sacramento
State.
State University.
Yep.
And Mike Bibby's the head coach.
That's right.
Yep.
Sac State gonna win national championships.
I mean, they've already got 2 of the hottest kids in the portal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's very telling. And I think we're going to see, once these numbers start coming out, I think the major sport that you're going to see whether or not the administration really cares about them is women's basketball. Because have you seen what Texas Tech said?
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
So they said 74% to football, 17 to 18 to men's basketball, 2% to women's basketball.
Okay.
But
1.9.
that's probably commensurate with the history of those programs.
Exactly. So I think there's going to be levels, when it comes to women's basketball, because I mean, maybe women don't like Lubbock. Maybe. Like,
Man.
I don't know. Maybe it's hard to recruit to Lubbock. Maybe it's, and it is what it is, right? But you know, you're going to see some variance there. I can't wait to see what South Carolina gives for women's basketball,
There's a
or
perfect
or
example,
or
right?
Connecticut, right? Or
It'll
LSU
be way higher
or
at UConn.
Iowa. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Listen, if you look at the University of North Carolina, the highest paid collective people on that campus should be the women's soccer players,
Yeah. Perennial champions.
right? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like let's start doing some reality.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to see. Like, yeah, football should probably make the most money in most places, but there are places where the best sport at the school is not anywhere near football.
Yeah.
Track and field.
I mean, look, obviously football is going to get the most amount of money at the University of Florida, right? Okay. After football and men's basketball, is there any way on this planet that the third piece of money shouldn't go to the track and field program? I'm just saying, like, it shouldn't. That I think my issue with any of this is the cookie cutter nature of it. Every school is different.
Mhm.
Well, they will definitely have the flexibility within their campuses. That is a campus choice.
Yeah.
Have you guys had any conversations about this with anybody that doesn't have football?
No.
No.
So I had a really
like
interesting
Wichita State,
conversation.
for
Yeah, I
example.
had a really interesting conversation with Steve Rainbolt this weekend about that very thing because they don't have football. Right. And so this would be one of the weird times in life where if your school decides to opt in and you don't have football, things just got really good for the non-revenue sports.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in theory.
So
yeah.
I wonder, and I don't know this to be for anything or anything, I'm just talking. I wonder if any schools who don't have football have opted in.
Yeah, I think Wichita State is going to. They just don't know at what level. But think about it. Even if they opt in at 10 million without football, everybody's getting paid.
Oh yeah.
Well, you don't get to choose. You don't get to choose the payout.
Yeah.
It's 22 or 0?
No, it's
The
relative
percentages.
to the percentages of your
budget
contracts,
Yes.
and
Okay.
budgets,
Yeah.
and blah 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 blah.
I got
blah,
you.
blah.
I got you.
So the P4s, it's going to be right around 22.5. The G5s, it's around 2.5.
So the opt-in is based on percentage,
Got it.
Like-
Makes sense. Makes sense.
right? Like the American was the first to go in and say, you have to. I think they said you have to get to 15 million within 3 years.
Mhm.
However you divvy it up,
Mhm.
right? So
I mean,
anyway,
feel like there's about to be a boom to the Big West.
ooh wee.
None of them have football.
Mm-hmm.
By design.
Yeah.
Still the wild, wild west.
We're just getting started.
Yeah. Gosh. Golly. Anyways, so final topic for the evening. There is a current obsession with high school track and their ability or unrealistic comparison to pro times, pro marks. Let's call it pro marks. Do we feel like it's a detriment or a positive motivating factor for the growth of the sport?
Can I just say it's stupid no matter which version of the answer you want to get?
Yeah, but I think here's the thing. I don't even want to dismiss it as stupid because, yeah, I think internally I agree that it's stupid, but I think it's more than stupid. I think it's really dangerous, right? Because high school kids are running 9.9 now,
Legal.
pros that run 9.89 are being disrespected
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, well, how much value can you be? You already went through a whole high school and college career and you're 300th faster than a high school junior. I mean,
I
that's
agree
happening.
No, I agree that it's detrimental when I say it's stupid, I mean the people that I've seen doing this. Like, either they're dumb or they're purposely leaving out like every possible bit of context. Like, the one that made my head spin was somebody took the Texas whatever 6A final from this past
Yeah.
weekend and compared it to the Carl Lewis Olympic run. And
Yeah.
was like, all these kids would have won the Olympics. Like, stop it.
Yes.
Okay. The technology is different. The tracks are different. The freaking shoes are different. The coaching education is different. Like, there's no comparison to any of that. And with all due respect to any extremely talented young person that is out there doing things that haven't been seen until now from people their age, it's one thing to win a high school race against high school children. You could take all of these same people and drop them in the middle of a professional race or a professional season, and most of them would do what children do, which is fold, because they don't know
Sure.
how to do this on those stages. So I get that we can be
Or in round 4.
right. I get that we can be as lazy can be and be like, oh, the time is faster or the time is comparable, but it's really not. And I mean, you could take the phenom of last year, right? Or let's take a phenom of closer to yesteryear that is now the greatest thing we've ever seen, which is Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
Sydney made the Olympic team, not selected in the relay pool, made the Olympic team at 16 years old and went to Rio and got her ass kicked. And you could see that she was going to be a star, not because of how she raced, but because of how she took it. She realized instantly, and she said it. She's like, hey, this is a whole nother thing. And if I'm
Yep.
going to play at this level, I need to do all of these other things. And now she's the greatest thing that we've ever seen, and it's not even close, right? But there's a lot of those way back in the day. It was supposed to be Obi Moore, and he went to the Olympic
Yes.
trials, and he got baptized and never was heard from again. Like, there's these versions of these kids that pop up in every generation. There's not a lot of them, but they do happen.
William Reed.
William Reed, like, they do happen. And it's like, I'm all for sitting back and being awestruck about amazing things. Like, the 9-9 in high school is crazy and bravo, but don't pretend that these people can all of a sudden go do what the Noah Lyles of the world can do, because that's not true. And it
Mhm.
is disrespectful. And if it continues and it continues at the fever pitch that it is, what it's going to end up doing is, to our last discussion, screwing up the market.
Oh, yeah.
And that's already happening. So it's dumb, and we shouldn't be doing that.
I mean, so what I'm feverishly doing is I'm going to try and figure out who the past 5 state champions have been in the state of Texas in the 100 meters. Does anyone have any idea?
Well, no, because there's 14 of them per year.
Well,
You
6A.
stupid.
6A.
No.
Last year was
Last year was the same kid, right?
Mm-mm.
No.
Nope. Last year was Jelani Watkins.
That's right.
Watkins.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. The year before that, 2023.
what's his face that went to SMU?
A guy?
Gory.
Oh,
Marquise Johnson.
Oh.
I
he went to SMU to play football and not track.
Oh,
That's
he
what I
did?
was trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pierre Gore is who I was thinking, but I was wrong.
Yeah. Let's just see. 6A 2022.
This is y'all's state.
2022.
I was
This
about to
is
say,
that was
I
my
know.
first
I'll
year
say.
here. I can't
Mhm.
remember. First year here, that was
That was Pierre Gorey.
Okay, I
okay.
knew he
There you go.
won
I
it
was a year
at some
off.
point.
That was 2022. 10-22 he ran.
You know what I really wish people would do? Because listen, the young man from San Antonio
Mm-hmm.
is special.
Yes.
I've seen him run a couple times in person. He's the real deal, right? But what I really wish people would do is compare apples to apples. Compare him at 17 to Bolt at 17 and Arion Knighton at 17 and Noah Lyles at 17. Because see, then you put things in perspective,
Right.
Yes.
right? Because that's an apple to an apple, right? Because let's just be honest, that dude is special. But at 17, he would have asked Arion Knighton for his autograph,
Mhm.
Or gout.
right? So
Mhm.
I want people to leave these kids alone and let them develop as opposed to making them into something they're not yet. He has run really fast a couple of times. And that's not, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. He has not cut a tooth yet because he has not raced anyone who is equally
Commensurate. Yes.
talented
Yes.
or better than
Mhm.
him and beaten them yet. Right? Most elite track and field, baseball, football, soccer players at the 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old range look like they didn't belong. Right? Most of them beat the snot out of their age peers. So all it is it puts you in an elite group of possibilities.
Right.
Now, listen, dude could next year run 980 something in high school, and then we're just kind of like, oh, okay, so he's different, right? Because if he runs 9.8 and 19.8 or 19.9, like in the same meet, like I don't care what age you are, like that's pretty special. But that still doesn't mean that he's immediately going to step into the pro ranks and be like in lane 4 and scaring somebody. Because the reality still is, as much as everybody keeps trying to push these kids into these pros because they've run a pro time, when they get on the line and they're 992 and 2014 is the slowest of the 9 people,
Right.
it's different.
Mm-hmm. Well, and there's also no way to prepare an 18-year-old for what the NCAA is as it stands. There's no way.
That's
You
right.
you are throwing them to the wolves. Like you're essentially saying, "Hey, remember what you did last year? We're going to need you to do that again." Only thing is, you're going to be running against grown men.
Like
Grown men.
literally grown. Freshman
Literally.
or 25.
Yeah, exactly. You know. And so it's really interesting, um especially here in the state of Texas. They talk about bragging rights, and so you go back, so you got Watkins, Johnson, Gorey, Jose Garcia, who ended up at UTSA, Braden Williams, and Matthew Bowling. Those are the last 6 champions that have come out of the state of Texas.
Right.
Right?
And only Matthew Bowling has a semi-professional career.
There you go.
No, he has a professional career. He is a relay bandit currently.
Is he signed?
I mean, I'm sure he's on a bonus deal of some sort.
Okay.
Hey, I signed a contract for $0.00, but I was the professional track and field coach.
Just saying.
I mean, maybe he's getting ACC tickets. I don't know.
Oh, Lord. All right, Chu.
On that note,
World relays?
I'm about it.
Oh yeah.
We got some
World
bonus
Relay.
coverage, right? For World
Yes.
Relays?
Yes.
You can put us on a time clock, Chew. We'll listen to you.
No, I'm confused as to where you're going right now. That's what the look is for.
We just gonna talk about World Relay.
The
There was a-
preview. The
Oh.
preview of World
There was a
Relays.
World Relays
Oh.
preview on the topic list that you put out.
So, well, it's going to be in China, which is 13 hours ahead of us. I learned that.
Ooh.
Oh, I
It's-
really wish people could see the pre-show. That's all I can say.
It's 10:45 a.m.
Why are they there so early?
Oh, goodness. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Listen, I'm a fan of the World Relays event. I actually think it's pretty cool. It's one of the good decisions World Athletics has made to make it into a mandatory qualifying extravaganza. I'm here for all of that. Based on the rosters, it seems that Team Jamaica has learned their lesson from the past and are not going to play any games this time. And it seems that we did not pay attention to the Jamaican problem last year, and we got some risks going on.
Well, I think a lot of that, if you want to dive deeper into it, I think we are seeing a separation between the athletes that purposely got ready between Grand Slam, indoor worlds, Grand Slam, and World Relays, and the ones that are like, you know what, y'all can have it. I've got plans starting in July.
That's right.
Is Ja'Cory Patterson on the roster?
No, he's not.
See,
See,
we didn't already messed up because he's clearly ready.
Mm-hmm. Clearly ready. Yeah, and we're already seeing some issues with Botswana. 3 of their top sprinters
Are
that have pulled out.
Hey, I just say, whoever put that headline out originally, that is bad writing.
Mhm.
Because the way they wrote it,
Yeah.
thought that them fools defected from Botswana.
Yes,
And I was like,
yes.
wait, what are we talking about? Oh, they're
Yeah,
just not running
exactly.
World Relays. Okay.
Yes.
Not worried about it.
No, for sure. That was definitely written like they left Botswana.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like who they running?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. World Athletics likes to do these things. They decide that something is going to be so. And it is now it's not sort of important, it's imperative.
Mm-hmm.
But when they decide these things, they don't come down as a hammer on all of the NGBs, and the NGBs should therefore come down as a hammer to all their constituents. So the reality is there's only going to be 16 teams in any relay at the World Championships, and 14 of them, is that correct?
14, that's right.
14 will qualify at World Relays.
Yes.
Or nowhere else.
So if you don't qualify as one of the 14 from World Relays, you now have decided that you are going to be one of the 2 fastest non-qualifying teams globally, without any specificity to racing.
Yes.
That's a dodgy perspective altogether, right? So no one would willingly put themselves in that 2-person Russian roulette. So if that's the case, you would think, based on the way I just described it, every team would send their A squad. Most teams are not sending their A squad. And as we saw last year, Jamaica sent their D squad and it didn't happen. And, I'm not going to take any massive shots at the U.S. I'll just say it's not our A or B teams. And I don't think anybody would argue with me about that. Right. So there's a certain level of arrogance, but it's not even really arrogance, right? Because if the NGB doesn't tell the athletes you have to be there, then you can't be upset if they choose not to go because they think they have a choice. But you know how you make it not a choice? Everybody who was on funding, which is, oh, I don't know, every single sprinter, because they're all in the relay pools, right? They all have been carded because of being in the relay pools. You don't get your money if you don't make yourself available for selection to go.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
Therefore, we would get the chance at our A team, or if we think our B team is good enough, our B team, as opposed to just taking like those who raise their hands. I'd like to go to China in May.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen. It's I hope it works out.
So I'm
And I
looking.
mean, how does World Athletics get away with having the first two Diamond League meets be in China and World Relays be in China?
Well, that just made calendar sense.
Yes.
Because you already gonna be over there for the Diamond League. You may as well hang out a little longer.
Oh, you figure that made calendar sense. The second Chinese Diamond League was last weekend, right?
Yeah.
World Relays is 10 days from now.
Yes.
So you're telling me you want me to spend a month in China? Because if
Hey,
I'm going to go to China, I'm going to both Diamond Leagues, right?
There is
That's
there is
8 days.
there is one
Plus-
word. There's one word to answer your question. Wanda. Okay.
Crazy.
Funny how that works.
It's crazy.
that's right.
So,
I
but
am.
yeah,
None of us are here for the mixed 4x1. We are not here for that. I really want to know who's running it though.
well,
Listen, I'm afraid for whoever's running it.
so how about based on the website, there is no women's 4x4 team for the Netherlands.
Oh,
Well, that would also fall into the arrogance category,
Mhm.
but they probably figure outside of us,
Well, they'll go to
no one
Europeans
can
or
beat 'em.
something.
So they'll have a meet,
Mm-hmm.
Euro champs, whatever, and get it done.
Yeah.
But
So they
that
have a
is
4x1, but there's no 4x4.
Yeah, because they know they're not good enough to just do that in a 4x1. But in the 4x4, they've earned that level of arrogance, right? I don't think it's the greatest of ideas, but
Yeah, it's interesting. So in terms of Jamaica,
well,
they're
somebody got
not.
the memo in Jamaica.
Oh yeah.
Jamaica's not playing.
So their 4x1 for women is Nisha Berger, Tina and Tia Clayton, Serena Cole, Sharika Jackson, Natasha Morrison, Alana Reed, Crystal Slowly. And there was an essay. There was a Shelly Ann Fraser Price sighting in Jamaica as well.
Wasn't she retiring 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think that was a thing. I think so.
She got bolstered by blasting all the moms, which, by the way, is, again, KOP level petty.
Yes.
Hey, they didn't say that the Olympians weren't allowed in the mom race.
That would have been like if they had parents versus the kids at was it Sierra Canyon, and Scottie Pippen and what's his face, and LeBron played,
Mm-hmm.
Man, boy.
and D Wade.
jeez.
I don't know. I just think World Relays is a cool event. Like I said, I hope we do well.
Our 4x4 squad is Godwin, Leitner, McCrae, O'Brien, and Justin Robinson.
I mean, they should make the final.
Mm-hmm.
Which is all they got to do.
I was gonna say, it doesn't sound horrible. It sounds solid enough.
Mm-hmm.
I just, again, listen, I know we say a lot of things on this show and we end up being right. So I'm gonna add this to one of them. World Relays has earned the level of importance that it belongs on the calendar properly, and let's just call it what it is. In a year like this, where we have an indoor world championship and an outdoor world championship, the next thing that World Athletics should have sponsored should have been World Relays. Like literally, World Relays should have been the week before the first China Diamond League meet.
Well, yes, that would have been better.
So then you do World Relays and go home, or you do World Relays and then you spend your 2 weeks getting your 2 Diamond League meets on, and then you come home.
Right.
That would
But
have been
putting
better.
it like it is now, like even if I was in for it, my agent would have a hard time getting me to be like, yo, the best thing for you to do is stay in China for a month.
And
Like that's a hard sell, man.
China is
Especially
an
when World
advanced
Championships are in
society.
Japan. Listen,
And
it is what it is. But again, the calendar dictates travel. I still got to go to Qatar at some point in time.
Mm-hmm.
I still got to spend most of my summer either grand slamming or over in Europe. And
Diamond
then
leaguing.
I've got to spend the last month basically in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nah, cuz I'm not doing that.
Well, you are, but not liking it, maybe.
Nah, all the people that have a choice chose not to go. Who of the Americans besides Ariane Knight, who's an A-lister?
Badnerek
And TT, right?
and
So
TT. Yeah.
so 3.
3.
We have 3 A-listers. That tells you like the jury has spoken.
Yeah.
and I mean, let's just call the spade the spade. Arion is an A-lister, but he's out there for the opportunity because they haven't put him on relays before.
Mm-hmm.
And Kenny is looking for some semblance of redemption.
Yes.
Ariane and Kenny are out there to prove that they belong on leg 2 and leg 3
Yep.
on every relay we run from now on. And you know what? Look, if you got a job and that's what you're going to do it. So I'm proud of both of them for doing that. But at the end of the day, you know, and I'm imagining that TT is also going out there to justify her existence in the relay pool. But other than that, everybody
which
else
is
who
crazy
has
because you could argue the TT's been the MVP for 2 years.
Yeah.
everybody else who has an option ain't going.
Nope.
Well, we shall see what the result is and whether we are right or wrong. We'll see.
Over or under on the percentage of dropped or failed passes in the mixed 4x1. Not for America. I mean, in general, like this is the first time this event's been done somewhere, right? So, like, what's your over under on? Because there's going to be what 3 races, probably for prelim to go to the final, something like that. I don't remember how many teams come, but
I think 80% of the teams make the stick around the track, just not well.
okay. So you're saying that your over under is 20%. Is a 20% failure rate.
Under 20% failure rate. It just but again, failure for me in the 4x1, just because you cross the finish line don't mean you accomplished good.
We know what failure is. What say you, KST?
Let's say 85%.
Failure?
Success.
Okay, so you're taking the under also.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking the over.
Oh, okay.
I'm taking that more than 20% fail to either get disqualified or fail to connect said pass. Big league, what you got? Over under on 20%.
Wait, your definition differs from what Clyde said.
Yeah.
No. I just said it just said differently. He's saying 80% are going to make the passes successfully.
Yeah.
Like
No,
that they're
he
going to get
said-
around the track.
Listen, he
Stop
said
yelling
failure.
at me.
He said failure means that he can still cross the line, but the passes may not be, I don't want to say successful, efficient. maybe
It's
is the word.
Smooth.
really done. Choose half right of what I'm saying. The question was, are they going to make it around the track? I am saying 80% of the teams will make it around the track, though I will not necessarily consider that successful. The world will,
For me,
but I won't.
for the purposes of this percentage,
Yes.
disqualifications or failure to connect are what I'm talking about. And I am
Correct.
saying that a greater percentage
You're
than
talking
20%. Yes.
You're
DNF
saying
or
more than
DQ.
20% will DNF.
Or DQ, yes. Because I
Right.
think somebody's going to pass out of a zone too.
Yeah, I think them regulating them regulating that it has to be woman, woman, man, man is gonna allow for people to get one pass relatively safely and it be a disaster. It's gonna look like bad high school 4x2s. Like, that's what it's
Yeah.
gonna look like.
Okay, so then I say God, I want to say under, but I feel like over.
I mean, obviously, that second leg athlete, that female athlete that now has to, has to chase a male in the zone,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of spacing, regardless of how many times they practice it. When whoever that person is, takes off, okay? You talk about nerves of steel, like I can't wait to see it
Hey, I
because
told you what I would do.
I
We
would
running
never coach
past,
this.
we running past, and I'm gonna get it on my way out. I told you.
I would never coach this event, but if I was forced to, my passes would be 4x1, 4x2, 4x1.
Yeah.
The female to male pass is open-handed. It's 4x2. We not doing that. We not doing blind and match speeds.
Oh man.
No shot.
Hey, I'm
If you
telling
can
you.
run 9.8, do you know how close 10.8 to you?
Yeah,
And that's assuming 10.8.
yeah.
No shot.
I'm telling you.
I'm taking the over.
I'm innovating.
I
I'm
hope I'm wrong.
innovating.
I swear to God, I hope I'm wrong, but I'm taking the over.
All right. Well, noted. We'll
Okay.
see in like 10 days-ish. But other than that, thank you all for joining us for the first episode of the 6th season. 5 years strong. Other than that, get your rest. Call, talk, hug, pray to your mothers this weekend. Don't mess up before you leave for conference. So, all right, everyone. Have a good weekend. Bye.